Welcome back to the rest of the story. First off, I guess I never told anybody about it, but the opening credits that our videos now have are courtesy of one of my moderators, Jim Estep. Thank you very much, Jim. Didn't tell me that he was doing it. He sent it, or I saw it the other day, and it was brought into my attention, so I asked him for the file, and lo and behold, the rest of the story now has an intro video, which you guys seem to be pretty impressed with. So I guess it's here to stay. But I want to talk to you guys about a little dilemma I have. See that little creature running around behind me, trying to get away from me? See, we're down at my place, and we have to move these guys and a whole herd of them out to our summer grazing pastures. Well, the problem that we're going to have with that is we have a bunch of little guys to load up into the trailers to take out to Ryan's. Now, it seems simple enough. Well, the first problem you're going to have by doing that is the fact that now that we have a bunch of calves to worry about getting loaded, we have to worry about loading the trailer too heavy or with too many of the full-grown cattle, because something that would be very much an issue, and it is a very real concern, would be the fact that little 100-pound calf gets stepped on or squished, crushed. Basically anything that really comes across to mind that could happen to them isn't a very pleasant outcome. So that, on top of the fact that these guys are out and there's probably 70 acres or so of pasture here. Well, maybe closer to 100. We'll just say 70 to 100 acres of hay. And the problem that we have is getting all of these newborn calves that the mothers are so diligent about making sure are staying hidden. Making sure that when we haul the cows out, that we're not dumping these cows into a lot, to a pasture, without their babies. Because anybody that has done that has had experience with separating a mama cow from her calf or vice versa, it doesn't result in very positive outcomes. Typically, I've seen full-grown mama cows that have torn through a very, not brand new, but literally a healthy 6 barbed wire fence, walked right through it, literally just put her head up underneath the bottom wire and walked through it. I mean, that takes a lot of determination. Seems how these same fences are what's keeping them in the pastures the rest of the year. Well, on top of that is that you can also get the calves to do the same thing. A little bit easier for them to do it, but they're young, they're dumb. Imagine we all can relate at one point in our lives. And they don't know what to do, so they start hopping fences in any which direction. I've had a couple of instances like that throughout my life. I've tagged a young calf like that. It was a belted calf, if that explains anything to anybody. And we went through, we tagged him, we banded him, we let him loose. He disappeared over the hill. I got a call from the neighbor 20 minutes later that he was laying on their back porch. 2 farms to the north, remind you. Also, on top of the fact that we have seen them, the full-grown cows going underneath fences trying to find their calves. And the problem is that when they're separated, they don't know where they are specifically, but they just pick a direction and they start walking. And granted, I'm not saying it's 100% accurate most of the time when they start running, but I have seen them where they are headed in a pretty good direction, or pretty close to the direction that they should be headed in. So the plan is, I'm trying to get them all sorted out into one pasture, because there are, I don't know if I can spin this around. Oh, I can't spin my camera around while I'm recording, but I messed something up, and there we go. See the pasture behind me? That's a separate pasture. I'm trying to get them all into this pasture. It's a little bit more open, a little bit easier to see little balls of fur, calves, hiding in the grass or in the bushes. The other pasture, you can see there's a very, very heavy cover of trees. Really hard to find all the calves. It's really easy for them to hunker down and not move for a good 24, 36 hours. And what happens is that all the previous outcomes I just told you about end up happening. So I left the gate open over there, so I'm kind of watching her too. The plan is that we already have Ryan's cattle out on the pasture. We're going to go through and dump all of these into the barnyard out at Ryan's place first. And by doing this, we're going to keep all the cows, all the calves together in the lot until we let them out all at once. That is opposed to taking the trailer out directly to the pasture and just opening the gate and letting them run. We've done that before. You can get away with that, but not when you're not sure if the cows you're loading match with the calves you're loading. Now, if we were going through and tagging these calves as they were being born, yes, I do agree with doing that. I have done it in the past. What's been keeping me from doing this accurately is when we went through planting and everything else here the last 6 weeks or so, the calves get ahead of you, and I wasn't able to catch everybody as they were happening, as they were being born. So as opposed to only getting some of them tagged and not all of them tagged, and really just getting confused about it, I'd rather just wait. We'll get them in September. The plan is to wean all these calves off, preferably in September before we get into harvest. That way they can get weaned off. We will go through and we will be banding them, worming them, vaccinating them, and I'm seeing some movement over there in the trees again. I thought I was out here by myself, and then those, yeah, see, I don't know if you can see them, right there, that little silhouette. That's another calf that just kind of popped up out of nowhere. I thought I was out here by myself, but they're just letting me know that they're still here. So that's a dilemma we're going to have to deal with, and it's probably going to be a little bit tedious, and to the point where we may have to keep the cattle in the lot for a day or two. May have to throw them a bale, and just to make certain that what will end up happening is that we keep them in the barnyard, unless we're absolutely certain that we have them all. But what will end up happening is we'll end up putting them in the barnyard, feed them a bale, hold them out for a day or two, and then I'll be making rounds down here with the four-wheeler. And if I catch anybody that happened to avoid our first sweep for calves, I'll pounce on them and we'll take them out and dump them in with the rest of the cows, because about 12 to 24 hours without mama, they start to get hungry and they start to get a little easier to find because they start wandering. So, all right, the bugs are gonna start chewing on me. So, all right, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. You guys are watching the rest of the story. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys on Saturday.